Peace, peace, peace. Welcome to another episode of the Parry, where we don't pull or duck no punches, and the parry is fundamental to boxing. I am your host, Bomani UFG,
I am the pragmatic Che Black.
and welcome everybody to the Parry. First of all, let me remind y'all to jab that like button, go ahead and uppercut that subscribe button, lead hook that share button, and throw a combination at the notification bell, and put the comments on his back in the comment section. Yeah, man. Yo, Che Blicky, man, how you doing, brother? What's good with you?
Doing great, man. Same fight, different round. You already know.
I hear you, bro. Happy Juneteenth and all of that.
Yes,
You know what I'm
sir.
saying?
Definitely respect commemoration for Juneteenth. Absolutely. Paul,
I
me,
think
I
that's I think
trust myself.
right on the heels of Juneteenth, I think this might be a fitting discussion. This discussion may be a little bit deeper
Then
we
we
normally
normally
have
go on the
than we
on the
normally
parry
go
because
here on the parry,
it
but
might be
it's
a little bit more
necessary.
political. Might be a little bit, and I don't mean political like politically correct. I mean it might be, dealing with the real politics, that go on behind the scene that we normally don't even ever really discuss. You
Yeah,
know,
and today we got one of my favorite people, one of my esteemed elders, my big brother. You know what I'm saying? Our big brother. You know what I'm saying? Out of
indeed,
Philly.
indeed,
We're gonna
indeed.
bring on our brother Baba Sekou. 1 second. Baba Sekou.
Well, oh man, what's going on?
What's
Bomani,
go-
brother Che Black, how y'all feel, man?
Feeling
we
feeling
good,
great,
brother.
man.
How you and the family doing?
Family's well, man. Thank you for asking, and thank you for inviting me on to the Parry. I'm honored to be a guest. Thank you.
Nah, thank you for joining us, man. Thank you for joining us, man. Uh First let me ask you, Baba, what's like how long I know you older than us, you know what I'm saying? You
Hmm.
our big bro, so you've been
Yes, sir.
watching boxing longer than us. Like what year did you start watching boxing, and who brought you into the sport? Like who made you fall in love with the sport? Because I know you're a hardcore, not a casual.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I have to go back to the year 1976.
Mm.
What got me into boxing was that summer, the Summer Olympics in Montreal, Canada. That the U.S. boxing team that year, man, which would included people like Leo Randolph, Howard Davis, Sugar Ray Leonard, the Spinks brothers, John Tate. I'm probably forgetting some, but that was a very, very well decorated Olympic team. I forget how, I think 5 or 6 have won gold medals, and several went on to become, quite well known and esteemed and famous professionals. And of course, Sugar Ray went on to become an all time great. Um, but that's the year that I really got into boxing. That summer, that's back in the day when talking about political. That's back in the day when the network showed boxing on TV. Now they only show gymnastics. It seemed like a swimming. You know what I mean? But back in those days, man, they showed all those fights. And that summer of '76 is when I fell in love with boxing.
That's one of the best Olympic teams, maybe only to be rivaled by the '84 squad. I would
Absolutely,
say.
yeah. I would say the
I would
'84.
say.
I would agree with you. The '84 team and '76 team. It's a toss up between those two teams.
Indeed.
1976, man. That's before we was born, Che. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
But it
wasn't even
did.
gonna mention that. But I was a good 2 years before we came along.
Yeah, I was
Absolutely, man.
10. I turned 10 that summer.
Okay,
And he mentioned Sugar Ray Leonard, who's my favorite all time fighter. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
He Sugar Ray
definitely a
Leonard is
legend.
actually the fighter that that's why I started watching boxing. I just remember I don't remember how old I was. I just remember being a young kid and I seen him in the fight through that bolo punch. You know what I'm saying? And since then I was captivated with the sport and with Sugar Ray Leonard, man. He's my
Yeah.
favorite all time fighter. I can't front, man.
Sugar Ray
Um
Leonard definitely also, just to add, also is a big reason. Matter of fact, he is the reason why I really got into the sport. Watching him fight, I believe it was Hearns, but it was maybe a year or two after the fight actually took place. Though I was watching a replay of the fight, and it was just amazing to me what these guys was doing. My father had shown me that, and then of course, anyone who knows me knows that Marvin Hagler and then Mike
Getting a
Tyson
little
was was
distortion
was
on
was
y'all.
my two favorite. So you got some distortion.
you sound good to me. I think it's because he's on the road right now, so maybe he's just hitting the bad spot. Yep, we lost him for a second.
I'm
We'll
back
bring it back on
now.
as soon as it. Yep, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
we
You
hear you.
back with us. You back with us.
Yeah. But shit, I was saying, Hagler
Yeah,
was my favorite.
no.
You can hear us, Seiko, Baba Seiko?
Look like he froze. Probably hit a rough, bad spot out in traffic. We're getting back on as soon as he pop back in. But yeah, man. Um, oh, there he goes. Let's bring him back.
Drop the camera off.
There you go. You good? You can hear us?
Are there?
Yep,
Yes,
we
we
here.
are.
Can you hear us?
Okay. Yeah. I
Yeah.
can hear you. I heard you, Shay talk about how Sugar Ray was also his favorite.
Hmm. Yeah. But the
Yeah,
irony of it
yeah.
was is that Marvin Hagler, no, Sugar Ray is what got me into watching it, but it was Marvin Hagler was my favorite boxer growing up as a kid.
Okay. Yeah. My favorite growing up, of course, was Muhammad Ali. How could you not like Muhammad Ali? When I grew up, Ali was on the
Right.
downside of his greatness, but he still was Muhammad Ali. He still was must see TV. But I think my favorite boxer of all time, having researched and studied the sport and watched a lot of film, is Sugar Ray Robinson.
Hmm.
I think Sugar Ray Robinson was just the perfect boxer. If God wanted to sculpt the boxer and make the perfect boxer, he would create Sugar Ray Robinson.
Sugar
And
Ray Robinson,
pound for
Mr. Pound
pound,
for
the term
Pound
pound for
himself.
pound, yes, the
Yeah.
Yeah,
term
he's the one
pound
that
for
invented the
pound
title. Yeah, they invented that
Yeah.
because of him.
was created
Right.
because of him.
Yes,
So
sir.
before
Yes, sir.
before him, it was just naturally understood that the heavyweight champion was the best in the world. But you had this guy who was just like you said, if God crafted a fighter and sculpted it, when he was created, a fighter was in mind. When God created him, it was
Yeah,
strictly a boxer.
yeah. And the other person I think is slept on in history, man, is Henry Armstrong. I mean, there's a lot of boxers that are slept
Yeah.
on, but
We've
Henry
had
Hammer and
different
Hank.
Armstrong, yeah,
Homicide Hank.
he held what, the lightweight title, I think, was it the
the
welterweight and the middleweight
welterweight
title,
title,
and all at
and
the same time, and
and
fought
and,
for the light
and
heavyweight and barely lost that.
he
Right.
was I always say it's 1A and 1B.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying? It's hard for
yeah,
me to ever really pinpoint. Me and Bomani had this discussion before. It's
hmm
always hard for me to pinpoint which one is better. On
yeah,
Monday is Robinson. On Tuesday is Armstrong.
yeah. Those are my two. One, like you said, 1A, 1B. I'm only gonna go with Sugar Ray because he's just Sugar Ray, man. He was the man for the
Absolutely.
time. He was just unbelievable man. Even in and out of the ring. That's what Henry Armstrong. Henry Armstrong was a man's man too, especially back in
Absolutely.
those
Absolutely.
days when a lot of black men had to deal with pressure from organized crime, to throw fights and all that kind of stuff, man. Both of those brothers stood up, man. So I always,
Absolutely.
give hats off to them inside the ring and outside.
And that's back. That's back.
Absolutely.
That's back when men was out there. They was fighting 5 fights a month, maybe more. Man, like
Yeah, man,
they
they
was
had to eat,
And
scrapping.
man.
then, hey,
They had to eat.
they had a
Every
match.
week they had to eat, man. It wasn't like these mega fights and you making, you can fight once, maybe twice a year, and you got enough money to take care of your peoples, man. Like you said, they had to fight every 4 6 weeks, man. They out there scrapping. That's why Sugar Ray had over 200 professional fights, man. I mean, he
Absolutely.
Right.
was rumbling. He was rumbling.
And if you,
Absolutely.
and if you
Absolutely.
look at the footage of Sugar Ray, man, like fundamentally, like he was like people act like back in the days, them dudes couldn't box like the way they box now, man. Like him,
I,
Joe Lewis,
I see. I was
Marcus.
just about to get into this. I was about to
Yeah,
ask you
yeah,
about this.
they had the fundamentals, man. Like they pretty much had the craft mastered. Sugar Ray Leonard, like you said, was if they crafted a perfect boxer. Like if God made a boxer, wanted to make the perfect boxer, that was the man to watch right
that was
there.
that was the
But
one
I
to watch.
but I'll throw
Now,
Joe Lewis in there too.
Yeah, yeah, Joe Lewis. I mean, I think the old guys, man, the old timers. I call that the golden age of boxing. Back, those guys, man, were fundamental masters. I mean, they really, really learned the craft. You watch guys today. Very few guys are really strong with fundamentals. I mean, one of the people that people always throw out as being one of the modern day greats is Roy Jones. But Roy Jones did. He was horrible fundamentally. Even Ali. As much as I love
Right,
Ali, he was horrible fundamentally. He was a horrible. You would never tell a young
that's
boy, go watch Muhammad Ali and you'll learn how to box. He did everything
right,
wrong.
that's
right.
where
It's
you
true.
have ability versus skill. You have
Yes.
a very skilled boxer, and I'll use Bernard Hopkins as the opposite of Roy Jones. Bernard Hopkins, very skilled. He didn't really have the natural gifts that a Roy Jones had. So, whereas
Right.
Roy Jones, hands low, leading with left hooks and things of that nature,
No jab.
no jab. Ali, no body work. You know what I mean? How many
Nobody
times did
work.
Ali really
Right.
go to the body? So when you have fighters like that who have these abilities, these God-given abilities, what happens
Mm-hmm.
is when the reflexes slow down,
There you go.
when the speed declines,
Right.
that's when you see Roy Jones now getting knocked out. You understand
By
what I'm saying?
bums. By
By
bums.
bums, by
Yep.
third and fourth tier fighters.
Yep.
Whereas someone like a Bernard Hopkins, who is extremely skilled at the craft and
Right.
extremely, he had the jab, the right, the crawl. Like he was just a very skilled and disciplined
Yep.
fighter. His
Yep.
career was able to last
Go.
a little later in those twilight years, as opposed to Roy
Yep.
Jones, who was ability versus
Yep.
skill. And I actually
Yeah.
have a clip about that'll be dropping soon. A video about that
Yeah.
dropping
Yeah.
soon.
You
So
hit
you
the
guys
nail
will
on the
watch
head, man. You hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail.
it.
Very few of these
Absolutely.
young guys today are fundamentally sound. I think the old school guys, and being from Philly, Fight Town, you look at someone like
Absolutely.
oh man, I can't recall his name now. Joe Frazier's old trainer. He was the one that invented the
Eddie
shoulder roll.
Futch. Eddie
Benton.
Futch.
Benton. No,
Eddie
Georgie
Futch.
Benton.
No.
Jordy Benton.
Oh
Georgie
yeah,
Benton.
yeah, Benton.
Georgie Benton.
Yeah.
Yeah, Benton. He was the one, that really, and and I think that it's been perfected. But guys like that had, like you said, they were craftsmen. They really, really worked at their craft, and they didn't rely on athletic ability. I think you have these exceptions that come along, like Ali, obviously, Sugar Ray Robinson, and others. Even I would include Floyd in it. I think Floyd is a boxing savant with extraordinary skills, but I think he also combined a
Exactly.
certain level of fundamentalism that made him
That's
as
what
good
let
as he was in this modern era. He's one of the few I would say was sound fundamentally. The only thing he didn't do that I didn't like was I think he threw a lot of one punch. He didn't do combination, especially early on. He didn't throw a lot of combination. He would roll with that punch and put the shoulder up and just putting together his punches. But other than that, I mean, his fundamentals I think were pretty sound for a modern day fighter.
and which would enable him to go on into the later years of his career, kept him, able to maintain his record, was that he was able to rely on his fundamentals in the later years and his IQ, and not just the fact that he had these reflexes or the fact that he had the speed that he had. So I definitely think that Floyd is the perfect example of a marriage between the two, skill and ability. Personally,
Well, let's.
before
Well,
we get
brothers,
into
let's.
I
Hold
want
on.
to say
Oh,
no,
go
real quick before
ahead,
we
go ahead.
get into that. You know what I mean? Because we got the brother on here. We were talking about some things, and we talking about the fighters of yesteryear. And a lot of sports experts would say that athletes of today are superior of athletes of yesteryear, based on you know knowing the foods to eat now and the training regiments that we have now. I wanted to know what's your take on that. For example, with a fighter like Crawford or even a few years back, Hagler, how would they fare in that era that you're talking about when we talk about these guys like Robinson and Lewis and you know
Ali.
Armstrong? Oh, we lost.
Oh, yeah, we lost him. We'll bring him back on once he come back. But that's a great question. Let's save that. But let's get to the topic at hand. Uh, and the question of the day is Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia,
Garcia.
cheetah. Oh, actually, you want to ask the question before we get into the topic? You want to say that to the end,
Yeah,
King?
now
Yeah.
ask the question before we
Can
get
you
to
hear
that.
me?
Yeah, okay. Did you hear the
Yeah,
question
yeah,
that I
yeah.
was
We can hear
asking?
you.
No, repeat the question. I think
It,
you were talking about Terrence Crawford. And
well, it was basically saying the fighters of yesteryear versus the fighters of today. A lot of sports experts in general believe that athletes today are more superior than the athletes of yesterday. And I was just curious on your take on the overall. Do you feel like a fighter like Crawford or a fighter like Spence? How would they fare in an era with Armstrong and
hmm
Robinson and guys
hmm
like that, and Lewis and guys like that?
that's a great question. I think that someone like Crawford, he would do good in any era. He's a throwback fighter as far as I'm concerned. He could fight in any era and be a champion and be effective, be amongst the best. I think today's fighters benefit from sports medicine more so than being better than the old time fighters. I think it had sports medicine been around like it is today and been available, particularly to black fighters, especially. But whatever sports medicine did exist back in the day, it probably wasn't available to our people. But I think if sports medicine was as developed, in the 30s and the 40s, even the 20s, the 1920s and on up, I think that those guys would have done even more phenomenal. Can you imagine Sugar Ray Robinson with, a nutritionist and a masseuse and, people taking, doing all his blood counts and can you imagine how affecting you and he not
Yeah,
having a box every 6 weeks? Can you
yeah.
imagine how he could pick his fights and rest in between? So I
He,
think these guys today benefit from sports medicine and just the advancement and overall understanding of athletes and all the things that go with that.
Nah, excellent. Nah, I
I
agree. I
definitely,
agree.
I definitely agree with that assessment as well.
But let's get to the main topic.
All right.
Ryan Garcia, found as a
Okay.
cheater, popped dirty for Ostarine and other performance enhancing drugs. Uh, why does he get? Why does a cheater get more support than Devin Haney? But let's kind of review what happened with Ryan Garcia. Some of the madness that been going on with him. Once again, he popped dirty for Ostarine and another substance, I believe. Uh, Also, people want to ignore a lot of the facts of the situation, which is he he tried to skip out. I think he skipped out on the initial test, and there's video of him actually getting the IV, which a lot of people used to give Floyd flack for that. They say that that's a means to flush some of the chemicals and substances out of your system. People want to kind of lean on the fact that there was trace amounts of Ostarine, not nothing to really benefit him in a way where it would give him any advantage. Um, but nonetheless, it's a banned substance and it's banned for a reason. Um, if it's something that he was cycling on and off, which it appears to be so, it would absolutely give him an advantage. Not to mention he came in 3 pounds overweight, uh, purposely. And then when you take into account all of the crazy behavior that he's been exhibiting and showing in regards to, especially on Twitter, uh, you know, out there talking about Devin Haney's moms and what things he want to do to her, other men's. Uh, Hold on a second. Not to mention other people's wives, and disrespected Clarissa Shields, and it's just been one thing after the next with this guy and the madness that's been surrounding him all on social media. And just
Mm-hmm.
recently, the New York State Athletic Commission, they suspended him. Actually, his legal team and the New York State Athletic Commission agreed to, or they came to a deal where he would get a 1 year suspension on
Mm-hmm.
top of, I believe, on $1 million fine and a $10,000 fine that he got to give to the commission. 1 million goes back to Golden Boy, I believe. So, and I'm of the opinion that if this is an agreement, oh, we lost him again. We should be back. I'm of the opinion that if this was an agreement, this is an agreement that they came to. Yeah, I'm of the opinion that if this is an agreement that they came to, that maybe the New York State Athletic Commission was, thought he did it purposely as opposed to it being unintentional. Because if you're innocent of something, I think you will fight the case to the end. And rumor has it that Ryan Garcia went and met with the New York State Athletic Commission before a lot of this stuff became public, maybe a few days before everything became public, and admitted to uh, taking Ostarine, which is why they came to the agreement, and which is why he came out before all the information came out. He came out and say he wanted to retire and do all of this type of madness. But it seems, in spite of him being a cheater, even black people, man, they like there's such a hatred for Devin Haney and his father that in spite of uh, Ryan Garcia getting caught cheating, that there's a hate. The people are gloating and still bringing up the fact that he lost and it don't make a difference. And it sound like, also, you got a lot of Mexicans and non-black people that are just overlooking the fact that this guy's cheating. Uh, I do think that race plays a part into it, but you also got black people who for one reason or another just won't even acknowledge the fact that this man cheated, and Devin Haney kind of like deserved it, or he would have lost anyway. And they got this whole narrative that a bunch of non-black people would speak on. But like point example, he says, brother Kenyatta says, because nobody likes Haney but you, Bomani. Ryan Garcia may be a cheater, but Devin Haney is not that guy, and never will be. Next, why the hatred, man? Like Baba Sekou, like from your opinion, like you've seen a lot of the sport more than we have, and it's probably not. It's probably a precedent for this. You probably have seen this before, where black fighters that, in spite of whether being cheated or some type of wrongdoing happening to them, that non-black people as well as black people kind of are excited about the fact that he lost or still continue to hate the guy for whatever reason. Like, what's your opinion on this?
Wow. This is yeah, it's kind of mind-boggling. One reason why I think so many people, including black people, are quote unquote forgiving, or at least not holding what's his face accountable, is
Ryan Garcia.
because Garcia accountable is because of the way that he dominated the fight. I think that even though he cheated, it's different when you see somebody cheating. You know what I'm saying? It's a low blow, somebody throwing an elbow, twisting an arm, head butting. You know, those kind of things. People, because they see it, it's obvious. They can, you know, put their hands on that bit of cheating that they see. But we're talking about steroids. Steroids, that's why it's so insidious. That's why so many other professional leagues around the world, are come down so hard on it, because it is insidious, and it does give a person a distinct advantage, in some areas, particularly in strength and endurance. But because people can't see it, I don't think they fully appreciate it. If you've never really been in the gym and seen the effects of steroids on people, and watch people's bodies change, and watch people's, reaction times change, and watch people's, strength just go through the roof, and you have to play against those or compete against those athletes and everything, you understand the level of advantage that taking steroids can give you. But I don't think the average American boxing fan really appreciates that for what it is. And I think that's part of the reason why that, and again, the part that Devin Haney has somewhat made himself unlikable from a lot of points of view, in a lot of different little ways and all. So I think that and the third thing I would add, and then I'll be quiet, is you got to remember too, before Ryan Garcia went through this metamorphosis with his personality and just acting like a crazy man, he was marketed basically as the next De La Hoya, pretty boy, you know what I mean, going to be the new face of boxing, and so he was likable. He was marketed that way, and I think that he occupies in the casual fan's mind the good guy spot. So it's kind of hard to go against the guy that everybody is supposed to like, the good guy, so to speak.
Okay, real quick too, Bob. Like, you're our guest. You know what I mean? So you ain't gotta be quiet. We got you on here to hear your thoughts as well. So you I mean, you good on that aspect.
Oh
But
yeah.
I just I wanted to ask, um, so you were talking about the effects of being in the gym and seeing what steroids or these performance enhancing drugs can do. And you
Hmm.
mentioned stamina and strength. How much well, we know stamina goes far in boxing. You know,
Absolutely.
being able to out endure an opponent is very important.
Hmm.
Um, but I wanted to know, outside of stamina, which I'm not downplaying that at all. What do you feel is the benefit of taking a PED? How would that translate into a better performance in the ring?
Again, I
Would it
think
make you punch
primarily
harder? Would it make you faster?
it could,
Reflexes more
because
keen? I'm just asking.
it could. I don't know about reflexes so much, but I definitely know that it will make it will make you stronger. And if it makes you stronger, then potentially when you're throwing punches, you'll be able to throw punches with more force, more impact. So I believe it definitely make you stronger, make your punches have more effect. It can possibly make you faster, depending on the kind of fighter you are, and the kind of muscle fiber that you have and things like that. But I think the main advantage is in endurance. I think the main thing is in endurance and the ability, like I said, to punch harder.
Well, here's my follow-up question, because if Devin Haney was the one that was caught on PEDs and Ryan Garcia was the one who was beat in that way, would the
Hmm.
response be the same, or would
No,
Devin receive? Yeah, right. Speak on that.
No, no, Devin Haney would definitely be, persona non grata. I think he would have been suspended for a longer period of time. The fine would have been bigger, and the response, the vitriol from the public would definitely be a lot more, hyperbolic. I think the people really would go in on him, and I think for some of the reasons I said before. I mean, Garcia has occupied the good guy spot until this recent, irrational attitude change that he seems to be displaying. But I think that Haney would have definitely been raked over the coals. And just to be honest, too, I also don't think it helps that he identifies as publicly as a Muslim. I think that also would play into why he, in addition to being black, of course, that's always a factor. I think he'd definitely be raked over the coals, and he would suffer a lot worse damage to his public image and to his pocketbook.
I think in this sport, like boxing from its inception is always been a pretty nationalistic sport, divided among racial
Absolutely,
lines.
always.
But it seems like the black fighter got to deal with hate from non-blacks as well as his own people a lot of the times. And it seemed like, in spite of, now again, here on the Parry, everybody knows, everybody that watch the show, that tune in and follow us, they know me. But why the UFG? I am a huge Devin Haney fan. Always has been for a long time since he started
Okay.
making his come up. I've been a big fan of Devin Haney. However, you cannot be a fan of Devin Haney because maybe he's not an exciting fighter to you. I mean, shit. Excuse my language. Maybe you don't even like his attitude or like the fact that he's a Muslim or what have you. But it seems to be like this.
Mm-hmm.
You see if you see a brother done wrong, like he was clearly in the ring with somebody on performance enhancing drugs and took a severe beating. Like his career might not be the same after that beating. But black people are actually, they seem to be happy that this happened to him more so than like, hey, I'm not necessarily a fan, but this guy's cheating. Like rather than like, why such hatred for the black fighter, even from his own? Probably more so. Seems like nowadays, especially Devin Haney.
I mean, just to interject, I think really it's what Baba Sekou said. I believe that a lot of it is that Devin Haney has not endured himself to the fans like that. And his father doesn't help either with his antics carrying on like LeVar Ball out here. So I think that
Yes.
a lot of that has to actually do with the fact that we're looking at a fighter who has not endured himself, and then on top of that, his performance in the fight. You know, like Baba
Yep.
said, you don't see the elbow, you don't see the headbutt or the low blow. You seen him catch that left hook. You seen them legs turn into noodles. You know what I'm
Consistently.
saying? You seen that stanky leg consistently. You seen every time that
Yes.
chin got tapped, that boy wobbled. And that right there is very
Mm-hmm.
visual. So on top of not being an enduring fighter to the fans, we're watching you out here getting beat up on. And then after the fact, the way you
Mm-hmm.
conducted yourself after the fact wasn't something that a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
black fans was going to appreciate. Your language and your attitude directly after the fight wasn't something that a lot of the black fans appreciate.
Well, but like, let me hold up real quick, Jay. Um, Now I can understand some people's, not liking Bill, which I don't have a problem with Bill Haney. I think he's doing what he's doing for his son, like he's supposed to. Um, but you said
Mm-hmm.
it meant speak to Haney
Remember, you're
not
speaking
being.
from a fan though, so it's hard to be
I am a fan.
subjective.
No, no, no. Listen, no, I
No,
can be
I didn't say
subjective
it.
and still
I'm
be.
saying you're speaking as a fan,
I can
so it's
still be
hard to be
objective and
subjective
still
to
be a
that level.
fan. Nah, no. I don't think
Objective.
so. I think I can be subjective and as well as a fan. My question is, how is how is Devin Haney not enduring to the fans? Like, explain. Like, what is he like? What is he doing or not doing?
You asking me
Yeah, both of you.
directly?
If Baba Seiko
Okay.
shares the same opinion,
Yeah,
like what is he
No, I
doing
I
or
ain't
agree.
not
I would
doing?
agree
Sekou.
with that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Baba. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think it's endearing to the fans at all. I think part of it is just his personality, he's not extroverted. He's not exciting. His fights aren't exciting. Um, I mean, for that matter, you compare him to somebody like Tank. Tank is enduring because Tank knocks people out the same way Mike Tyson did. So you don't have to be glib. You don't have to be rhyming and all that kind of stuff and be a personality like say Muhammad Ali or Sugar Ray Leonard were. But you do have to have something exciting that captivates, excites, and electrifies the fans. So his conversation is kind of, his presentation is muted. His boxing is sublime. I think he's an artist in the ring, but if he's getting, like you said, if he's getting consistently tapped on the chin with that left hook, and he's constantly going to the floor, then that's not endearing. So what does the casual fan hold on to? Again, the casual fan, someone like yourself, Bomani, who's a boxing aficionado, you can still hold on to it because you're going beyond just the entertainment aspect of boxing. But the casual fan who paid his money to check into the fight, the pay-per-view, he or she is not going to be holding on. They're like, this guy's a bum. And then if they're doing a little bit of research, let's say they followed the fight, the build-up for the fight, the father is there, and he's not really likable. And I agree with you. He's doing what he got to do for his son. But it's like Danny Swift Garcia. His father wasn't likable. You know what I mean? I think a lot of these fathers Floyd Mayweather, he really wasn't likable when he was in Floyd's corner. So I think that's just something that goes with the sport. I think a lot of these fathers are doing what fathers are supposed to do for their sons in the sport. But that's just most people. They want you to stand on your own too. So I think you combine his lack of personality, his lack of excitement in the ring, and then in this particular fight, getting knocked down three times and almost four. I think that's kind of hard for people to like you said, to be endeared to and to be captivated by.
Speak on it, Che.
I think a lot of what he said, I actually agree. I think that a lot of it is his style. He's not, and I think that's probably the biggest thing as far as with the casual fans. He's not an exciting fighter to watch. Someone like me, I can appreciate actually watching him box. So I can appreciate the craft
Absolutely.
and the art. Floyd Mayweather, especially in the latter half of his career, was not an exciting fighter to watch. But his personality and his antics outside of the ring made you tune in, if anything, to see if somebody can actually beat him. So he doesn't have that it factor. He doesn't have the extra that he would need, especially with a style like the one he has. So I think that right there, and I think that his father is very unlikable. I think that his father has become over the last few months more and more unlikable, compared to someone like Floyd Mayweather Sr., who was almost laughable at times, whereas Haney to a lot of people are more annoyed, you know what I'm saying? So I think that those two things right there are big. And the reason why I said it's hard to be objective, I wasn't saying that you can't give an objective assessment, Bomani. What I'm actually was saying was like the first thing you said was I like his father. You know what I'm saying? Most people though don't like his father. And that's what I'm saying. Like the consensus, and it's not based on any prejudice, it's based on his actual actions and the way he conducts himself. But I have to agree with both of y'all. I do believe that he is, as far as a manager for his son, he is doing, what a father is supposed to do as far as that aspect. It's just it's the little bit of extra that a lot of people probably can't stomach.
Here's my, and I hear what both of you brothers saying. Here's my issue with that idea, with that train of thought. If
What train of thought?
this,
Specific.
in regards to, well, he's not enduring to the fans, because we're talking about him being cheated, and people actually not even showing him the support as the victim, really, in this situation of somebody cheating you in a fight where you can actually lose your life in the ring. Like if we talking about another sport, let's say like baseball or track and field. If somebody wins the gold medal or breaks the world record in running and sprinting or 100-yard meter, whatever, the 100-meter dash or what have you, and then turns out to having performance enhancing drugs in his system, nobody says, well, the other guys were still slower or anything like that. He cheated. He's not worthy of that gold medal. Take the gold medal from him. Or did he really didn't beat that world record because he had a performance enhancing drug? And the person who came in second, who who didn't have the any performance enhancing drugs in the system doesn't receive any vitriol or any hatred for coming in second to somebody who cheated. So it's like in this case, it's like still we have somebody who cheated, clearly cheated, popped dirty, made a settlement, admitted to it that he did it, lied about it, that he did it, uh, and not to mention just in regards to just black fans, in regards to the black fighter, and we're talking about somebody um, like Devin Haney, like him or not, and boxing being a national sport, he is our brother, and yet and still you got black folks out there happy that the Mexican beat him, regardless of cheating. And I'm just like, he could not, you cannot like Devin Haney. However, if this would happen in any other sport, the vitriol toward the second person that came in second wouldn't exist. Nor would we be celebrating him or giving him any accolades for winning the race, knowing he had performance enhancing drugs in the system.
I'll say this: what is the attitude, especially amongst the black fans, about PED use in boxing? From what you, but and this is a question for both of you brothers. What do y'all feel is the attitude from the black fans about PED use in boxing?
Wow.
I'll let go ahead, Bob. Go ahead, speak on it.
I'm gonna answer that question, but I'm gonna do a little detour real quick. I think that the answer to that question has to be looked at in a slightly larger context. I think the casual American fan, just the casual American citizen, really has become, in my opinion, almost numb to cheating. I think people expect you to cheat. I think people really don't care anymore. I really do, and the reason why I say that, because you see it happening in so many sports. It's like a kid. I forget. There's a young kid in baseball that just came up. I think a couple of days ago, made his major league debut in baseball, and he just got suspended today for 80 games for PEDs. I mean, 3 days into his major league career, and he's already sitting out for 80 days. So people, I think Americans casually believe that everybody's cheating. So when you get caught, they're more like, well, you shouldn't have got caught, not that you shouldn't have cheated. I think that narrative has changed from when maybe you and I, when I grew up, for sure, people, took the idea of cheating as it was wrong. Today, I believe that old adage, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, has become the norm now. And I think that black folks are not immune to that. I think that, let's think about it. We live in a society where everybody's getting Botox and Brazilian, women anyway, getting Brazilian butt. Some dudes are doing it out here. You know what I mean? Everybody is trying to everybody is on, Viagra or some pill for this. So, everything we do is about enhancement or some kind of, performance enhancement. Let's just be honest about it. Everything that people do and take is about performance enhancement, whether it's about memory and taking tests. I forget the drug that these kids are taking now in colleges to be better at tests and more act. So
the Adderall.
Adderall, thank you. Yeah,
all the way
so many, man.
To the filters on social media.
Yo, hold up.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm sorry, man. That was a perfect. That was hilarious though. At the same time, because everybody's on some type of performance enhancement. The brothers out there with the blue chew. Listen, man.
It's something.
Everybody's cheating. Nah, that's fact. Yeah, continue.
And I really believe that because everybody's cheating at something or trying to enhance something, I believe that has infected and affected the public mindset and their reaction to cheating. I think that everybody is cheating, and I think that black folks are not immune from that. We're part of the whole picture of what happens in this country when it comes to that. And that's the reason why I think that you see more and more black people. I think 20, 30 years ago it would definitely been more split along racial lines. I think you would have definitely been more see more black people come out in favor of what's being done to Ryan Garcia. You know what I mean? As far as the suspension of, but today, no, I think everybody, that's changed. That narrative has changed.
I would have to answer that question, Che. I gotta agree with Baba Sekou in regards to I think the general fan in general, like, and I had this conversation at work with a few people that I know that are hardcore boxing fans as well. Uh, a lot of people, not myself, like maybe I'm still somewhat it's a bit naive, I guess. But the general consensus is everybody's cheating, or and if they're not cheating, if you put them in a situation where they feel they could cheat and not get caught, that they're going to cheat. So I think that's the general opinion of black boxing fans, is that everybody's doing it. And if like you said, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But me, on the other hand, my personal opinion is I don't think you're cheating until you get caught cheating. You know what I mean? Like not I'm not going to call you a cheater until you get caught cheating. You know, everybody could be cheating, but everybody could not be cheating at the same time. So if you get caught, you're a cheater. If you don't, maybe you're not. Maybe you are, but you never got caught, and now I'll never know. So I'm going to judge off what the facts are and what actually came out. And Ryan Garcia is clearly a cheater.
Well, with that being said, then let's let's look at some of the fighters in the past who have gotten caught using performance enhancement drugs cheating. Right back in 2000, Roy Jones Jr. after his fight in Indianapolis with Richard Hall tested positive for uh, andros. Man, I'd be hating these words, man. Androstenedione, uh, some
Yeah,
kind of
that's how you say
precursor.
it.
That's how you say it.
That's how you
Androstine.
say it.
Andros. How you say that, brother?
They call it Androstine for short. Yeah.
Okay, Androstein. He got caught taking
Sound
Androstein.
like a lawyer.
It it just so happened that also Richard Hall was caught with failed the test as well after the fight. So I guess that kind of canceled each other out. And then we know Shane Mosley after his 2002 fight with De La Hoya.
hmm
They said that he was a client at the Balco laboratory.
Victor Conti.
Where they used
Yeah.
undetectable steroids known as the cream and the clear, and he was
Hey,
also
Right.
and he injected himself with EPO. We know that in 2005, James Toney, after he fought Ruiz, the decision was reversed to a no contest after he won the WBA, moving up to heavyweight for testing positive to known performance enhancing drugs. These are just a couple of the popular black fighters who there was
hmm
absolutely no serious backlash after this happened. Maybe
hmm
Roy, maybe a little bit of Shane Mosley because he beat De La Hoya, but it was undetectable. So it was one of those type of situations, and we know that James Toney actually lost his title. You know, but we know we had Canelo Alvarez, Eric Morales
hmm
before the rematch with Garcia. So it's something that's been going on, and a lot of these fighters, Luis Ortiz,
hmm
Tyson Fury, a lot of these
Yep.
fighters have tested positive, some before or after these fights. And there hasn't seemed to be too strong of an outrage. Fernando Vargas, even though he lost that fight when he fought De La Hoya,
De La Hoya. Yep.
tested positive. So, like you said, like we talked, this is not a new thing. And I guess it is the idea that everybody is doing it. So it should be
hmm
a fair playing field. If you're doing it, I'm doing it. Who cares? you know. So I was just curious, like I said, I wanted to know how y'all felt the attitude was, because I personally feel like um we don't care. Like I think y'all pretty much expressed the same way I feel. I feel like, and not just as black fans, I feel like as the general consensus of fans in America, like Baba Sekou said, we don't care about the cheating there. I just ran down a list of boxers who pretty sure every last one of them boxers are going to the hall if they're not already there. You know,
hmm
so
Well, I
it,
think
it, go ahead.
yeah. Now,
No, go ahead.
I think it's a case by case situation though, because every case of somebody popping dirty is not equal, right? Some
So
people are.
cheating ain't cheating now. So wait a minute.
No,
I don't,
no,
that's
I'm
a
not
slippery
saying that. I'm
slope you
not.
going down, brother.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that some people are intentionally using it, since some people are got it in their system unintentionally.
There's no excuse. You should be aware of what's being put in your body. You should know,
That's a
yo,
fact.
you giving me these substances. What's this? What is this? And when it's not what you say it is, I'm coming for you after that. You know what I mean?
No, that's
Putting
a
you
fact.
out there.
That's a fact. But it's already been proven that there are certain supplements that you could get that people take every day that don't seem like nothing. That it reads one thing and it's tainted with other things. So all I'm saying is, I guess depending on the situation and how it got into your system
Listen to what you
differs from
just said
fighter to
though.
fighter. Yeah.
Listen to what you said, that it's a known fact that there are things that you can take that will test positive. So I was downstate. You don't eat no poppy seeds downstate, bro. You understand what I'm saying? Because you know what's gonna happen. You're gonna test positive. You didn't
Right.
take any drugs. You know you didn't take any drugs. So if it's a known fact that certain supplements are gonna test certain levels in your system of certain things, whether that is or is not what you were taking, you should at least be aware of that as well.
Well, again, we're aware of that now. Like back then, a lot of the way they test these drugs and stuff like that is different. They're a lot more strict now, which is why when Ryan Garcia made the excuse that my supplements were tainted, the companies came right out and made statements, and they're actually suing him now. Two
Right.
companies are actually suing him now because of the false accusations that he took tainted supplements. So, and that's what I'm saying. Like back then, it was different. You know what I'm saying? In the case of like Roy Jones and James Toney, not saying that they cheated intentionally or unintentionally. I don't know, but I do know that there were supplements you go right into GNC and buy, and it'd be tainted with some type of performance enhancing drug. Go ahead,
Right.
Baba.
I think what you're saying is true, but the more it continues to happen, the more people are going to be like, they don't care. You know what I mean? You're right.
Right.
Initially, it can happen by chance, and all cheating's not the same. But the more it keeps happening, people start losing interest in the details and start saying, well, hell, cheating is cheating at the end of the day, like Shay was saying. You know what I mean? And that becomes the narrative that becomes, part of the public think, the public mindset. So yeah, it can happen. You maybe made some poppy seeds and you tested positive, or you did this, or you were given a diuretic or some kind of prescription from your doctor, and ultimately that may. But whatever it is, after a while, people lose interest in the fineries and the details of it, and they just cast it as cheating. And after a while, like I said, we're all taking a hands and stuff. I mean, when I say everybody, I don't even mean athletes. I mean everybody in America is taking something to be better at something. Eventually it's just people just getting numb to it, and it's just gonna be accepted. So I think that Devin Haney is personally, a victim of a zeitgeist, of a certain kind of mindset that is predominating now in America, and unfortunately, he doesn't get the sympathy that maybe he would have gotten 10, 20 years ago for this type of event.
Before we get to my next question, I got a question for both of you brothers. But real quick, let me just go through the chat and shout out some people that's tuning in with us. Shout out to my brother Louis Rivera, brother M Kenyatta. I think that's what that say, HJJ Maker or Hodge Maker. I don't know if that's supposed to be Hodge or HJJ, but shout out to you, Sister Amanatu. Peace to the Queen, brother Jabril Africa. I see my man Rock Parker 7 in the building. Brother Mental Son, the fashioner and designer of our logo. Shout out Mental Son. And please go check out and support my brother at artoffactsclothing.com. He got some of the dopest gear out there that you can find if you repping that red, black, and green.
You got the family of the building today. Go ahead.
Yeah. We definitely got the family in the building. And let me just remind y'all to please jab that like button, uppercut that subscribe button, go ahead and lead hook that share button. You know what I'm saying? Throw a combination at the notification bell so you can stay updated when we drop new content. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the Parry 101 and on TikTok at the.parry.101. Follow us on all forms of social media, please, and show us some love. Peace, rock. We see you, family. My next question, man. Like honestly, how much does race come into play here, and on both sides, in regards to the fact that Ryan Garcia is not really being held to the fire in regards to his cheating, and Devin Haney in the amount of and the lack of support that he's receiving from, just being the victim of somebody cheating, man. How much race come into play
Hmm.
here, in your opinion?
You want me to go, or you want to check?
Yep, yep. Nah, go ahead, Bubba.
Okay. Well, let's be honest. Race is always a subtext to everything that happens in America. It's always a subtext. It's always gonna. There's always some place where race is has a say, or is being is an influence in what's going on. Now that said, there's something I want to introduce to this conversation in the context of race that I think is also playing in it. I mentioned earlier the fact that Garcia is also, has had up to this point always been the good guy, the pretty boy, the heir apparent to Oscar De La Hoya in the public, in the public mind as far as boxing is concerned. So he still occupies that spot a little bit, what I mean, going into this fight. But then the other thing I want to factor in is the growing impact of the Spanish market on boxing. 10, 20 years ago, the Hispanic market, was not what it is today. So I think that also plays a part. Again, it's racial, but it's racial in terms of economics, and that you don't want to piss off the Mexicans or the Hispanic market, Mexicans in particular, but Hispanics in general, because they are a very, very big and influential, part of boxing nowadays. Their economic might is has to be respected, even more so than African Americans. We don't occupy the same kind of influence as a market that we once did, and I think that also plays a part in why Ryan Garcia may be being handled a little more gently by the press, by the fans, by even the authorities, the governing bodies, if you will, in boxing, and even so you got to factor all that in as well. But I do believe that race, being black in America is always going to be you're always going to be the bad guy. We can go back to Jack Johnson on forward, and it's always been a factor, even through Ali's time. You know what I mean? It's always going to be a factor. But I think that we have to look at that the market, and we have to look at the growing power of the Hispanic market in boxing and its influence on this particular reaction to what Garcia has done, or non-reaction.
You muted, Che. You muted.
I would say race is everything. Um, it's a tribal sport. You know, I remember as a kid watching. I think it was Chavez when he fought
For now,
Frankie Randall. Nah,
oh
when he
Frank
fought
Frank
Frankie Randall in the
Randall.
rematch
Okay.
during the revenge card, and they had Paul Rodriguez was in the crowd, and they
Mm-hmm.
asked him who he came to see and who he's rooting for. And the way he looked at, I remember being a child, and this was profound to me because the way he looked at the interviewer, like, "Are you crazy?" He said,
Mm-hmm.
"Chavez, my blood. I'm going with the Mexican." Like
Right.
it was like a no brainer. He almost looked at him like, "Do you not see I'm a Mexican? Who else
Right.
would I go for?" And
Right.
so, it's everything. I also want to add that, we mentioned this before about earlier about Garcia. He was being built up to be the next De La Hoya. I believe it was you who mentioned that, Baba. So with that, if you remember De La Hoya, especially as a black fighter, like, to be honest with you, we looked at him like basically a white boy, and he's not. And him as well as Garcia, they're not so Mexican that the white folks don't get behind them. If you understand what I'm saying, like, they
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of white folks that get behind him because Garcia is not too Mexican for them to support and almost
Right.
feel like he's one of them, in a
Right.
sense.
Right.
So a lot of when we talk about racial and this and that is beyond just a black and a Mexican. It's almost like a trifecta thing going on here
Mm-hmm.
with Garcia, like De La Hoya shared, and like Canelo even gets the benefit of. You
Sentiment.
get that homegrown fan base, but you're also endearing to the other non-black fans that are out there as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what though? Here's what I find almost
And one last thing, just on the, and I think that Haney has not put his, like, it goes back to endearing himself to the black fans in a way. I mean, it would like his mannerism, it would be different if he talked that shit. You know what I'm saying? In a certain manner. It'd be different if he had a different type of swag, I guess, to say with him. But him not being exciting and the fact that his personality is boring to most fight fans. But go ahead.
But you know what's sad to me, what's sad to see though. I mean, given the fact again, like you mentioned the Mexican dude in the crowd. They asked me, "Yo, who you root for?" He looked at him with the crazy face, like, "Well, I'm, going for Chavez, of course. Like,
And what my
I'm
father
Mexican."
said was we couldn't say that. That's what really made it so much more profound. My father said that.
And
Imagine if one of us said that.
that's kind of where I'm going because like, uh, there's a Devin Haney, not Devin Haney, excuse me, Ryan Garcia seems to be beefing with everybody that's black that don't agree with him, right?
Right.
So he went at Timothy Bradley on Twitter, disrespected him and words that we can't repeat on this platform. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then he calls for he sends out a tweet to his Mexican fans like, "I need my Mexican fans to stand up for me." This guy called me an animal on TV and this that and the third or something like that, like right. And Devin Haney being a black man, uh, after Ryan Garcia done cheated, after Ryan Garcia done talk about how things he wanted to do with his mama, and all the disrespect he had to like Devin Haney couldn't go and ask the black fan base to stand up for him, but a Mexican can go do it, man. And I find that shameful. And it's
He did
no,
that
no,
too. Devin Haney did that
what
in the press conference. He accused Garcia and his father of being racist, and I'm trying to remember the statement that he made, but he
he
made
didn't
a big deal.
accuse them. They are though.
He made a
That's the
big
but
deal. He made a
no, but
big
my
deal. What was it? Was the statement really a
no,
racist
no.
statement? I
So
didn't take the racist statement that to be racist personally.
all right, well
I did not take that
let's go
statement
through
to
it.
be racist.
Hold on, let's
So
go
Haney
through it.
tried that. He tried that nonsense
I
too.
the way I took it was not he wasn't necessarily speaking to the comment and them being racist, more so than that being another show of their racism. I mean, considering that you got now,
Bad example. It was a bad time to do it. It was a
hold
bad example.
hold on, hold on, hold on,
Okay.
hold on. Because considering the fact that one Ryan Garcia is out there publicly supporting Trump, it disrespected the Haneys. He got a orangutan in the car, referencing saying like this is the Haneys. You know what I'm saying? He's he's supporting he supports people like Candace Owens. You know what I'm saying? Non-black people who are really non-black people. You understand what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is, regardless of like calling somebody a racist and then asking for your black fan base to stand up for you is not necessarily the same thing. You got a Mexican fighter that's saying he's literally asking his Mexican fans to stand up for him. Not he's not. If Devin Haney came out and said, "Yo, I need my black people to support me and stand up for me," but black people showing him nothing but hate and disrespect because you don't like the way he fights.
I mean, I think that's a little bit of it. We went through that already. I don't want to have to go and repeat all of that, but he is more than just not liking the way he fights. He's not a likable fighter all around the board, I believe, and a lot of people would agree with that. This is not just me saying this. You understand what I'm saying?
But
And
also, a lot of people would disagree with that as well, like myself.
yeah,
Let me get in
you're
here
in
real
the
quick.
minority though. You're in the
Go ahead,
minority
Baba.
though.
Go
You
ahead, Baba.
realize that, right?
I think there's again another racial subtext to this, in that Ryan Garcia is permitted the ability to call for his Mexican brothers because he is Mexican, so he can call for them from an ethnic point of view. When you're an African American, it's a hard game to play, because to call on my black brothers, because we have that certain that African American part, it kind of sort of, in the context of the American culture, if you will, it disincludes everybody else. And we live in an era now where to disinclude people or to be preferential to one over another is kind of not accepted. Ryan Garcia is an American as well, but because he's Mexican, he can jump over the border, at least verbally speaking, and be identified as a Mexican and not offend American sensibilities. Again, like I said, the power of the Hispanic fan has become very, very You know, that's why every Cinco de Mayo they have these boxing these boxing matches on Cinco de Mayo. That's a result of ethnic power, and ethnic power as exemplified through money. Name me any time in boxing history where there's been a consistent date where a black fighter fights or an all black card is promoted as part of an ethnic thing to make money in boxing. It's never happened. There's never going to be a Juneteenth weekend, where black people support. First of all, we don't even think like that. Black people are not nationalistic enough to even be, not anymore. There was a time maybe we were, but today we're not like that. Black folks are just Americans now for the most part. Present company aside, most of us don't identify as Africans or anything, beyond black as being the color of our skin, but fundamentally, they're Americans. So whereas a Mexican like Garcia, they have a Mexican culture, they have a land base, they have a language, Spanish, but they still have a language that allows them to be different but still be a part of the American body politic. Black people are not distinct or unique enough beyond skin color, which is something that we have, pined about and complained about, being discriminated for. So now that we're being included in the American body politic, at least as far as, popular culture is concerned, we can't go out and claim, I'm gonna need my black people to come out and support me, because that's kind of going against what we've been, striving for since the civil rights movement. So I just want to add that little context, to this argument, see what y'all think about that.
No, I agree wholeheartedly with what you said about that. That's especially we don't think like that, and we're afraid to be we're afraid to not be inclusive to that in that manner.
Because we know it's going to hurt our bottom line.
Fan.
We know it's going to hurt us. It's going to hurt us economically.
Exactly,
and that's why we're afraid.
Exactly. No, that's a fact. That's absolutely a fact. Also, I just want to add this: a lot of the degenerate antics and tactics that Ryan Garcia has been employing, we're entertained by that. And not just when it's Ryan, I'm saying that's the type of entertainment, and I'm not even specifying race. I'm specifying as a generation, as Americans, period. We're entertained by degeneracy and degenerate behavior for the most part. So, when people see these type of antics and see all of this, your mom and all of that, it becomes funny. It becomes entertainment. We don't look at it for what it is in the proper context. And so a lot of that gets ignored just because of the fact that we're used to that. Look at the music, look at the shows that's on TV that we're entertained by. So he falls right in line with all of that.
Right. There was a time when black people were distinct and different, from white folks, even in the context of America. But I would say since the civil rights movement, as we become more assimilated into, the majority culture, our values have changed, our stance on things has changed, our identity has changed. And as I say in a lot of the conversations, we got to define who we is anymore, because being black or having black parents or looking like a black person is not enough anymore. You know what I mean? What makes us an us? What makes us a we? Who is we? And so when we get to that level, whereas Ryan Garcia doesn't have that problem, he can call out like that, because he can call out for his Mexican brothers to support him in his way, because he's not going to be punished for that economically. If anything, they're going to come to him and they're going to rally around him and do a GoFundMe if necessary to keep him, keep his paper right. Black people, we're not going to do that. We're not going, and we're definitely not going to support somebody who does make a statement like that the way that a Mexican would support Ryan Garcia for making a statement like that. So we have a lot of work to do racially as far as identity and who we is and how we get back to where we used to be as far as identifying as black people and knowing what that means and all that goes along with that.
I gotta agree with you, Bob, on that. Again, which is why I personally my statement about Ryan Garcia's ability to call on his Mexican fan base and the lack the inability of Devin Haney to do the same with the black fan base. It's a shame. It's a shame that we here that we in a society where, again, when I watch a fight, like but my boxing mind may tell me the Mexican or the white fighter is going to beat the brother, right? Like, let's just say like Julio Cesar Chavez could be fighting Raheem Williams that work in the mailroom in the post office. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But once they get in the ring, I'm rooting in my heart and mind. I'm rooting for the person who looked like me to win that fight, even though I probably like he don't stand a chance. So I may be like, well, Chavez is about to whoop him. But in my heart and mind, I'm like, I hope the brother can shock the world today and beat this guy and become world champion. You know what I'm saying? Because he looks like me,
Right.
and I think that
Right.
you know
Right.
today, other people have that advantage. Whether you come from, you got European fighters, Ukrainian, or they come from the UK, they can call on their fan base for particular things, and they'll get a support. Like even somebody, a
Because
black
they have
fighter like
identity.
Anthony,
They have
right? But even
an
a black
identity.
fighter like Anthony Joshua is loved by UK fans, white and black. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying there's no racism and all that over there. However, if he's fighting an American fighter or a black fighter from America, the white UK fan base is going for him. You know what I'm saying? He could be fighting a white fighter from America. The
UK
white you
fans go after, they support UK fighters
This is my point. This is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
on
But
the
if he were
world
to
This is my
fight,
point.
stage.
would they support him like that? If he were to fight a white UK fighter who was very good, then you would see
No,
the
No,
difference.
then you
no,
see the
they wouldn't.
difference.
But they're
Then you
not.
would
Right.
see. Then
But the
he
problem
would be
is,
niggerized. Let's just call it what it
no,
is. He
that's
would
an
get
absolute.
niggerized.
That's absolutely
Right.
that's an absolute fact.
Like he to
The
fight Tyson
reason why we
Fury.
don't see that, the reason why we don't see
That
that
was my
as
thing.
much
Yeah.
though. Now that would have been great because we would have been able to see that on Front Street. But the reason
Right.
why you don't
Right.
see that much is because the black fighters over there are just so much better than most of the white fighters that they had, for the most part.
Right.
For
Right.
the most part.
Hmm.
Well,
So they get
I'm
behind
just
a Chris Eubank, they get behind a Frank Bruno. You
Right.
know,
but it's like but it's almost like even if you had a fighter who was, let's say, Jamaican or from the Caribbean somewhere, right?
Hmm.
He gets into a ring against a black fighter that's from America. Like he's gonna have the support of the whole Caribbean. Every Jamaican
Right.
that's watching the fight is gonna be rooting for him. But it seemed like the
absolutely.
black fighters out of America from America don't have the support of their own people who come from the same communities
And
that they
Okay,
come
Bomani,
from.
you're
So
absolutely
okay.
right. But I'm going to tell you why. Because
go ahead.
black people and Che, you hit something earlier. I don't think people, maybe some either they didn't hear it or I don't think we really fully appreciate it. You said it's a tribal sport. It's
Absolutely.
tribal, man. That we don't black people in America are not. We don't act like a tribe. We don't
Indeed.
act like a tribe. We if anybody black, we look at us, we're like Pan Africans. We think everybody's black and everybody's the same as us if they have black skin. Other people don't look at it like that. Jamaicans are
Right.
Jamaican first. They may be black, but they're
Right.
Jamaican first. Haitians are Haitians first. You know what I mean? Nigerians are Nigerians first. Black Americans are black. And that's why that's why this whole argument, and again, this is a whole other subject about, this whole argument about black people, what do you call it, ADOS and all that kind of stuff. That's a legitimate
Right.
discussion we have to have. We allow other people to come to the table, black and non-black, and divide up the spoils that we're going to unearn. When we shouldn't do that. If Jamaica, let's say for example, the Jamaican government got white Jamaican slave masters or to pay reparations to Jamaicans, we wouldn't get cut in on that, and we would understand that.
Right.
But if American government and Americans slave families are identified and made to pay reparations to black people, everybody black here would expect to get a check. It's like, no, you all didn't serve here. And there's nothing wrong with that. But again, that comes down to what I call a tribal mindset. And Africans in America, black Americans don't have a tribal mindset. Therefore, we wouldn't respond to what Devin Haney saying, yo, I need my black people to do whatever. We're not tribal enough. We don't have that mindset. We don't have that kind of support amongst each other and that kind of belief and faith in one another that comes first. Or that's a huge part of our identity as much as being an American. And that's why you see us respond and react or not react the way that we do.
I'm gonna use an example. I was at the Trinidad Hopkins fight. The whole New York City, all the Puerto Ricans was there for Trinidad wholeheartedly.
Because they Puerto Rican.
90% of the black people that were there rocking with Trinidad as well. I didn't see many, to the point where I was a bigger Trinidad fan than Hopkins, but I switched that night. That day in there, I had to ride with my real tribe that day. And I was a Trinidad fan to the fullest since he knocked out Maurice Blocker in 92. I was been a Trinidad fan ever since, seeing every
Mm-hmm.
last one of his fights in real time. I was in New York when he beat Troy Waters in that bullshit fight. So I'm a true fan, but I seen it for myself. So all of that, I naturally root for the black fighter and the Jamaican versus the black. No, Because Trinidad, yeah, he's black in some way. He's black, but he don't rep us. He don't. He
No.
come back, boy. He don't even want to speak English to a nigga. You understand what I'm saying? He don't even want to talk
Absolutely.
to you. But yet, I know more black folk who rooted for Trinidad in that fight than Hopkins.
I'm one of them.
I know you are.
I'm one of
You know
them.
what
I'm gonna
I'm
tell
saying?
you right now.
So you answered your own
Yeah.
question when you talked about all earlier. But go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Baba.
I'm gonna share something with you. I've only ever, and this is, you know, and again, this is not pure. I mean, I'm like you. When I watch a fight, I pretty much know who's better, who's not better. But if I see a black fighter fighting somebody, I'm always, even if I know he's hopelessly overmatched, I'm always going to pull for my own, knowing that the other guy's better. I admit to, you know, to reality. I always submit to reality. That said, when in those major fights, I've never ever voted against a black fighter against a I'll say a black fighter against a non-black fighter ever, except for one time. There was one time I did it, and I made a conscious decision. It was difficult, and that fight was when Adrian Broner fought what's the boy name? Marcus Maidana.
Marcus Maidana.
Maidana.
Yeah.
That was the only time, and it was a conscious decision because Adrian Broner was just so not just unlikable, but unrepresentative of what I think an African American or black man should be representing as far as carrying himself in and outside of the ring. I just couldn't bring my. I was hoping my mind down to knock his block off. That's the only time I've ever done that. You know, I didn't like Lennox Lewis. I just didn't like him, but I never voted against him when he fought against somebody who wasn't black. You know what I mean? And that's just the way I roll. You know what I mean? I've always been that way, and I probably always will be that way. I don't know if that makes me, you know, whatever. You can put the label on whatever you want to put it on.
Nah.
But that's just the way that it is. And even that Trinidad fight, I went with Bernard Hopkins. One, because again he's black, but or black American, more like me, part of my tribe. But number two, more importantly, he was from Philly. You know, I got to back him up.
You really got to
back
go.
your time.
You really got to
and when he won the fight, you know what I mean? I was like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I felt good that night. I slept really good, you know? So my point is that I very rarely go against, I'm only ever going against a black fighter, against a non-black fighter one time in my life. One time. And that was the one fight.
I hear you, man. Like, well, for me, man, my blackness extends across all borders, man. I can't. That's just the way I am. Like, I have roots here. My mother being from the South and my father being from Jamaica.
Nah, brother, you just admitted you went for Trinidad in the Hopkins fight. Come on, man.
Nah, hold up.
Though.
But what I said my blackness extends across borders. Trinidad, when I visually to me, he looked like a black man. You understand what I'm saying? And he was my favorite, and he was my favorite fighter at the time. So
he doesn't identify as black though.
Hopkins said, "I'm coming in with the African Americans, and he can come in with he's repping all the Puerto Ricans. I got my black folks." That's what Hopkins said specifically before the fight.
Okay. Yeah, but I ain't like Hopkins.
Okay, so I don't want to hear that child.
Yo, if he could go for Maidana, I could go for Trinidad, man. Don't even start.
I didn't say you can't, but I'm just saying you did it. That's all I'm saying. You did it.
And I did that, like I said,
and I'll do it again.
I did that constantly. I did it consciously.
I'm trying to think if I ever did that, man. I don't know.
That's the only time I've ever done it. Yeah.
You know, I did it with Trinidad. I did with Trinidad, from Trinidad all the way up to Hopkins. I've rooted for Trinidad every fight he fought up until he fought Hopkins.
I will say after the Trinidad fight, I rooted for Hopkins damn near every fight after that. He earned my respect that way.
Yeah, man. Did you go with Bright or did you go with Trinidad?
Anyway.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this. Look, listen to what he said. He said he hated Lennox Lewis, right? All right.
Yeah.
I'm a true Mike Tyson fan, right? True Mike Tyson fan. So any true Mike Tyson fan knows what that means. That means you hated Evander Holyfield. If you didn't hate Evander Holyfield, you was not a true Mike Tyson fan. When Holyfield fought Ruiz, I was rooting for Holyfield. I found myself rooting for Holyfield. Period.
Right.
And I couldn't stand Holyfield because of how much of a Tyson fan I am. So I'm gonna, I gotta say, I go with the tribe, man. Yeah, man. But I did it too with Trinidad. I'm not acting like I did, just not with Hopkins though.
Right.
That fight was too tribal. That fight was too tribal.
Right.
That was too tribal right there.
Yeah.
I don't speak Spanish like that.
Yo, we almost out of time. But before I go, I want to say something. Man. Hey, Dev, man. You know, I be talking straight to Dev sometimes when I'm on the show. Hey, yo, Dev. Here on the Parry, I got your back. You know what I'm saying? I got your back, brother. You know what I'm saying? Because I know it's hard out here for you right now. People not supporting you. Your own people who look like you, man, ain't got your back. They rooting for the Mexican. They glad the Mexican done, you know what I mean, put the paws on you. You know what I'm saying? And he cheated. So I acknowledge that Ryan Garcia is a cheater, that you deserve justice. I'm glad they made it a no contest. And Ryan Garcia, in my opinion, should have got a stiffer penalty. But, you know, you negotiate what you negotiate, and it is what it is. But only thing I'm going to say to you, Dev, you got to get it back in blood, homeboy, at 147. You know what I'm saying?
You
And
go.
deal with him. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I'm gonna leave that alone because we know he didn't conduct himself properly in the get back. That's also unendearing to the black
Yeah,
fans.
yeah. That little dance thing he did, that was not
Yeah,
cool at all. He
yeah,
should have
at
just.
all.
He should. That was not cool. That was very very like you said unendearing and really just kind of low key weak. You know, it's weak. I mean, all right, I got it back. You just you got to get it back in the ring. Number one, and more importantly, you know, you got to do it in a dominant. It's almost like that. What's the fight when oh man, what's the guy, the Puerto Rican brother from New York? He fought the Mexican guy who had the cement in his
Oh, you're
Oh,
talking
Miguel
about
Cotto,
Cotto,
Cotto versus what's his face?
Margarito.
Margarito.
Margarito, thank you. And when you know, we found out what happened, and they did the get back fight, and Cotto, he said he paid him back in blood. He beat him down
Yeah,
and proved
yeah,
that he was the better fighter. He has to do
yeah,
something like that. He has to dominate this next fight, and then he'll get some justice and some public acclaim, and people will you know will respect him and hail him. But if he don't do that, then I think it's going to be the same thing. He's just going to be people are like, oh well,
And
you got
Haney
beat.
came off. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you. Haney came
No,
off
I'm
like a
done.
nigga that'll call the cops, man. Haney came off like he's somebody, he's somebody that'll call police. I'm just saying. Yeah, man.
I just reminded
Oh
people
man.
to jab that like button. Go ahead and uppercut that subscribe button. Lead hook that share button. Throw a combination at the notification bell to stay updated when we drop new content. And put the comment on his back pockets in the comment section. You know what time it is. This is a party where we on pull a duck, no punches. Any parting words, Baba say cool. What you want to say to
Man,
people before we get up out of here, man?
I just want to say thank you for inviting me on the show. Hope I'll, you know, be invited back at some point in the future. And I
Absolutely.
just think this is, you know, the kind of conversations I like to have. You know, you very rarely get to talk boxing with people on a real level. You know, you got to keep things, you know, politically correct nowadays because people are, everybody got feelings. You know what I mean? And honesty has been taken hostage. And I just want to honor you and give thanks to you and Shay for even setting up this kind of platform where we can talk boxing and you know, really, you know, our love of the sport, but also do so honestly and you know, with a certain kind of truism that is, you know, respected by the listeners. And I hope the listeners enjoyed the show as well. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely,
Uh,
man. We
thank you,
enjoyed you,
brother.
man. It's an open invitation, man. You family, so anytime, man. You like part of the team. You know what I mean? So
I
Actually,
appreciate
I
anytime,
that.
think it'd be perfect. I think it'd be perfect if we bring Baba Sekou back on. If we and when we bring what's the name? What's the brother name? Oh man, Ivan Robinson. You know what I mean? Both from Philly.
yeah.
Oh,
You
Mighty,
know what
my
I
man,
mean?
Oh
Mighty.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We
Yeah,
got to get Mighty back on soon, man. Shout
Yeah,
out to
man, they
Robin
sleep on
too.
absolutely.
Mighty, man. Everybody want to talk about them
Yeah,
fights
man.
that he fought. What's that? Arturo Gatti fought Mickey Ward. I remember the two fights
Nah,
that
them two
Ivan
fights,
Robinson
yeah.
fought. People
I was
don't give them
there.
fights enough. They don't give enough. They don't give enough love to them fights, man. The Mighty
Yeah,
Robinson, man, and Mickey and Arturo
That's
Gatti
because
for them.
Gaddy lost both of them. That's why.
Yes, exactly,
yeah,
That's because
exactly.
Gaddy
yeah.
lost both of them.
But again,
But
we're
Ivan
back to race
Robinson is a
again.
friend of the
We're
show.
back to
He's a
race
friend of
again
the
now.
show.
Yeah, he's a friend of
Yeah.
the show.
Oh, yep.
Yeah,
So yeah,
good.
absolutely
Ivan
All
smart
Robinson
right, then,
time.
my
definitely a
man
friend of the
Mighty,
show. So we'll get him
for
back
sure.
on. Get you back on
But,
two Philly balls. You
but
know
we
what I
don't
mean?
pull a
Love her.
duck no punches over here, so that's what we get. We give you that honest talk, like you
Yes,
said. We
sir.
don't pull a duck no punches over here.
I appreciate that. I really do.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for joining us. Yo, Shay Blicky, what you got to say, brother?
Uh, I just thank you to the people out there who watching and who supporting us, man. Thank you to Baba Sekou for coming on. This was a great episode, and your man's man. He got to get his get back, man. You need to. Yeah, I don't want to say too much, man. I know that's your man. I know that's your man. You claim to be completely objective, but it's a little hard. You know what I mean? It's a little hard. It's your man's right there. I
Nah,
respect that.
I'm
I respect
objective,
that.
but I'm still a fan though. I'm still a fan. It's almost like,
I
you know,
get
like
that.
look, anybody that know, you see my hat, man. You know what I mean? Like I'm a
Yeah.
diehard Knicks fan, man. Like I got in fist fights in school over talking about the Knicks, man. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, when we stink, yo, the Knicks is trash. Yeah, I know we stink, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna watch them. You know what I'm saying? I'm still gonna support my team. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about boxing. I can be honest about the fighters that I like and whether they lost or what have you, what the
Nah,
circumstances
man,
are.
nah, man, because
But at the end of the day,
you
that
acting like people like
what?
Haney. You acting like people like Bill Haney. Like a lot of people out there really like
Yo,
Bill.
I know.
A
I
lot
just
of
don't. I
people
know.
don't like Bill. A lot
I
of
know
people
a lot of
don't like
people.
Bill.
Hold on, no. See,
You,
this is where you got it wrong. I know a lot of people don't like Bill Haney. What I don't understand is why a lot of people don't like Bill Haney. To me personally, he ain't never said or done nothing that I feel was like out there. I mean, no. All right. Lately during this situation, yeah, there was a few things that I thought was out of pocket. But generally
ooh, my
speaking,
son gonna get you. Ooh, come on, man. We ain't feeling
yo, he
that,
put.
man.
Yo, what he
We ain't
supposed
feeling
to
that type of
say?
talk, man. It just
What is
come
he
off
supposed to?
corny, man.
No,
It come off corny. Be honest, man.
the question is, what is he supposed to say,
You
man?
arguing with a
Yo,
man. You a grown man arguing with another grown man, talking about, ooh, when my son hear this, he gonna get you. He gonna
man,
get
they supposed to settle in the ring, and then the man got in the ring and cheated. You know what I'm saying? Listen, man,
we talking
it is
about with
what it
the
is.
AB. You know, I'm talking about the AB argument. When he called him a BAN,
Oh
you
yeah,
know what I
yeah, yeah,
mean?
yeah.
His response was,
Well,
ooh, my son gonna get you.
I mean, at the end of the day, we know what happened with that. You know what I'm saying? My man Blair Cobb with the boop. Remember? With the
Yeah, yeah,
boop.
yeah. He
He
booped that
booped
tooth
it.
up out his
He
mouth.
booped that tooth up out of him, man. So it don't even matter. That's over with. That's a
Yeah,
dead issue.
man.
You know what I'm saying? But once again, man, this is Bomani UFG of the Parry. I want to thank our guest, Baba Sekou, out of Philadelphia, hardcore boxer fan, somebody who, you know, again, like me and Shay Black, we'll text, talk boxing, we'll watch the fights and be hitting each other while we watching the fights. Like, so I had to bring him on. Just want to thank you once again, brother, for joining us. My man Shay Black, once again,
Thank you.
pragmatic one. You know what I'm saying? This is Bomani UFG, and this is the Parry where we don't pull the duck no punches. And I support Devin Haney.
We support black fighters.
We support black fighters. We
That's
support
right.
boxing. You know what I'm
All
saying?
for the
We
tribe.
support boxing.
All for the tribe.
Absolutely, for the tribe. Once again, want to thank everybody for joining us here on the Parry. Once again, we don't pull or duck no punches. And the Parry is fundamental to boxing. And we up out of here. Till next time. Peace.
Actually, now we're going to show you how to catch the jab. Actually, in boxing, it's called parrying.